So, Cyndi, you've been with Acuity for 3 years now. How has it been while you've been here?
It's been great. It's been definitely a fun experience. It's actually 3 years as an employee, and I was actually for a year and a half before that. I was a contractor. I was a consultant working for Acuity. So I've been with Acuity a total of about 4.5 years.
Okay.
And it's definitely been a growth experience and a learning experience both for me. And working with different clients, it's been enjoyable because I started with just one or two clients, and I've grown my client base quite a bit, and have had some turnover. Some clients I actually still have from the very beginning. So it has definitely been a learning experience, both not only helping clients and seeing their progression. I've had a chance to see clients grow and be sold as they're going through their growth stages, but I've also seen clients unfortunately go the other direction. So it's definitely been having the opportunity to see quite a breadth of experience with what my clients are going through.
That has to be super exciting to see a company that you've had a hand in, managing their finances, and then all of a sudden they're, kind of blowing up and being sold and moving on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, it definitely has been exciting to be a small part, obviously a small part of what they're going through, whether it's acquiring a product and growing bigger, or whether it's actually being sold on so that they can go on to a new and better and bigger opportunities for themselves.
That's awesome. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from?
I'm originally from New Jersey. Grew up there, went away to college, came back, worked for several years there. After that, I've actually lived and worked in Texas, and I am currently based in Tampa, Florida.
Okay. And where did you go to school?
I got my undergraduate degree from West Virginia University, go Mountaineers, and I have an MBA from the University of Florida.
Awesome. And how did you end up in the accounting field?
When I went to college, I was set on becoming a journalism major. But during one of probably my sophomore year, some of the professors were making sure that everyone understood journalism isn't for everybody. It's a very hard profession to break through, and they were kind of really painting this doom and gloom forecast for the future of journalism. So I had been a bookkeeper in college or in high school, and just realized I obviously don't have that passion for journalism. So switched over after taking a couple accounting classes. Being a bookkeeper, switched back and decided to be an accounting major.
Okay, that's awesome. So what was your first, well, you said you were a bookkeeper. What was your first major job in the accounting field?
When I graduated college, I was an auditor for Deloitte & Touche for several years. So
Okay.
that was my first real true accounting job.
Okay, how was your time there? Did you love it?
I loved it. I think that was probably the first time of, real exposure of going out and working with clients and helping to understand their books. So it was, and working with teams that rotated quite a bit. So I kind of, it's in some ways it's very parallel to working at Acuity. Where from client to client, your teams switch up a little bit, and sometimes you're remote. And for me, I'm always remote, but some people have the ability to be on site as well. So it's definitely fun and engaging to get a chance to switch up, and you just really don't know from day to day what you're going to be working on, what's going to happen at one of your clients. So that's one of the things that I liked about Deloitte that I also am enjoying here at Acuity.
Great. So what was your first controller job?
Well, my first experience with doing controllership work was I worked at a company called Adams Respiratory Therapeutics. I was their assistant controller and joined the company at a time when they were going from cash accounting, switching over to GAAP accounting, accrual accounting, and really worked with somebody that was a manager of mine at Deloitte & Touche. And we really put the books together and ended up helping the company go public. So we had a chance to really see from the ground up, working on the controllership and the organization and building out an accounting function. that they previously hadn't had. So that was really my first experience. And through that, I also had a chance to work at work in their business development function as well. So that was a fun experience. Then after that company eventually sold, I went and I worked at another company called Middlebrook Pharmaceuticals, and that was my first time where I was the controller and oversaw the whole accounting function from SEC filings and doing all of the books and accounting.
Okay, nice. So tell us about how you ended up at Acuity. What led you to us?
I actually was working at a small startup company where their books and records were some Excel files and some receipts. And through that process, in working with them to put together some true financials to get investors, that's actually how I came to know Acuity. I was working at a company, and Acuity was referred to me as a good fit who would help us be able to put everything together and start working in a cloud-based accounting system. So that's where it started. And that company, it didn't work out. They ran out of cash, didn't get the investments that they needed. And a couple months later, Matthew May reached out to me as Acuity started to grow and asked if I'd have any interest in coming along and working with Acuity. And that's how I got to Acuity as on a contracting basis.
Okay. So since you've been here, what would you say, or who would you say has been your favorite client to work with, past or present?
I'm going to exclude present clients right now for this. Historically, I would say the Encima Group was a client that I had. And they were probably the one that I experienced the most with, which is why I enjoyed them the most, is working with them, doing things very similarly to what I had done at Adams, where I had the opportunity to work with their internal bookkeeper and put together a chart of accounts and put together GAAP accounting. They hadn't been doing GAAP accrual accounting, and work on converting that. But I also helped them when they were looking at possibly acquiring different companies and products, and also worked as they eventually sold off because they continued to grow. And they eventually sold their business to another company, and I got to participate in that process as well. So while there were definitely challenging times, it was fun just to see them grow and to be a part of that excitement that I could feel, not only working with their accounting, but also working with a lot of their business folks. To see the company grow and to really feel the excitement that they had as they were growing, and knowing that I was helping and I was a part of that.
Awesome. So is there like a specific industry that you've enjoyed working in the most?
Right now, a lot of my clients are they're going to be SaaS-based companies, but I also have done when I was working internally at companies, as well as one of my clients now, they're more in the pharmaceutical industry. So those have been the two industries that I've had the most experience working with.
Okay, great. So tell us, what is a normal day like for you?
A normal day. I don't necessarily know that there's a normal day. Every day is definitely a little bit different, which is, again, one of the things I enjoy. Really, every day is just focused on what are the priorities for my clients. So at the beginning of the week is trying to figure out what commitments have been made, what deadlines are coming up, and then really just working towards getting them done, and then focusing on anything else that comes up at during the course of the day, figuring out, okay, where are my priorities changing during the course of the week. So it's balancing the multiple priorities of different clients, and focusing that certain things need to be done. But it's fun because certain days my head's down and I'm in accounting systems and Excel files and just focused on that. And then other days I could be spending on conference calls and video calls and going over financials with clients or talking about projects that we have going on. So it's every day is a little bit different, because sometimes I'm working on regular monthly closing. Right now I'm working with a client in moving over all of their financials from one accounting system, and then they're shifting over to another one, a more robust accounting system. So kind of working with how do we shift all the information over? How do we align everything? How do we want it to look in the new accounting system? So every day is a little bit different based on projects going on the different clients. So it's been it's just a matter of making sure that I understand what my clients' expectations are and making sure that I fit that into what my schedule is and making sure that I'm meeting their requirements and their deadlines.
Okay. So as a controller, where do you find that you're most helpful and effective when it comes to working with the company?
For my clients, I would say where I find that I'm the most, that I've provided the most benefit to them is really helping them to understand where their financials are. Most of the clients are so focused on operations and their heads down, day-to-day operations, growing the business, that sometimes they forget to, or just don't have the time to look at a consolidated financial package and look at some key indicators that are going on in their financials. So when I can pull that together for them and do some analysis and then have a conversation and go over that, that helps them to see where they are. Many times they might not realize, well, they have cash coming in, but their AR aging is getting a little out of control because some of their clients aren't paying. But they may not realize that because there's enough cash coming in that they can keep things moving along, or to focus on expenses and whether there's expense growth or things getting out of control. So it's helping them understand that where that's not something that they have, that's not their priority right now because they're looking to grow their businesses. So that has been a big help for them. And also then making suggestions as far as what it is that I see that based on what's going on in their financials.
Okay. And when do you think is the best time for a company to look into bringing a controller onto their team?
I would say it's probably earlier than most people think. It's when they start realizing that looking at the financials is not their top priority, that they have to focus on doing the business. They have to focus on growing operations, but yet it's beneficial to have, a second set of eyes, whether they have an internal bookkeeper or they use, an outsourced bookkeeper, having somebody review those, having somebody pull stuff together. I think that's, in making suggestions and making offerings. That's one of the benefits of a company like Acuity is you don't need a full-time employee. You don't need to bring on a full-time controller. Is sometimes you might only need somebody for to look at the financials at the end of the month and to see what was done. Or, there are those accounting projects that, if you're looking to shift from cash accounting to GAAP accounting to accrual accounting, to get somebody in to understand, to make sure things are getting cleaned up. So sometimes it's just those things especially when clients are looking at things on a cash basis, it's nice to have somebody to come in and to look at things and to make sure, things are truly in as good a health as the client thinks they are. So that's why I would say, bringing on a controller, even if it's just a little bit at the end of a month to kind of look at take a high level overview of looking at the financials all consolidated. I think that is a very good help for clients and for companies in general.
Okay. And lastly, what is something that I should have asked you today that I didn't? Anything else you'd like to add?
I don't know if there's anything I'd add. I would just say, all clients are different. It's been one of the fun things with working at Acuity is you don't know because things are always different and clients don't even always know their needs. So it's been it's fun to dig in and to get to know the clients, to get to know their business, and then kind of have somebody to grow with them as they're growing and their accounting needs change, whether it's moving from cash to accrual or just having somebody work on pulling together some key performance indicators or anything like that. So you just never know when you're going to need a controller, but it's also just nice to have somebody else kind of getting in and looking at the books and just another set of eyes looking to see what's going on.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Cyndi. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I
And
hope that helped.
you did. You gave us some good information, especially for companies that are looking for a controller and they're not sure when's the right time to bring them in. So that was very valuable.